So over the last few years, I've reviewed over 30 golf rangefinders here at Breaking 80, but recently there is one I've been asked about more than any other. And that is this, the Voice Caddie SL3. It is a $599 GPS-enabled smart rangefinder. But just because it's expensive and smart, does that make it better than other expensive rangefinders like the Cobalt Q6, the Bushnell Pro X3? How does it compare to other smart rangefinders like this, the Garmin Z82, which is probably the most high-tech rangefinder I have ever used? We're going to answer all those questions today and more. So if you've been in the market for a smart rangefinder or a high-end rangefinder, or you've seen this and just said, hey, that looks cool, is it actually any good? We're gonna answer all of those questions and more, so let's stop wasting time. Let's do this thing. If you don't know who I am, my name's Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here at Breaking 80, where since 2012, I've been doing cool golf product reviews and golf course reviews. If you do decide you wanna buy this, you can go to playbetter.com, you can use the coupon code I've listed below. You using that code, you buying through our affiliate links, that all helps me shoot more videos like that for you. But I just want you to know, everything I do, I try and be as unbiased as possible. I don't care which product you buy, I just want to help you find the right one for you. So we're going to talk about all the pros, all the cons, the things I love, the things I hate. We're going to talk about it all with this. And I'm going to now stop wasting time and we're going to get right into it. All right, let's talk first impressions of the SL3. I got to say, I've used a number of Voice Caddie and or Swing Caddie products. I don't know if you've looked at this. There's Swing Caddie, which I'm pretty sure is launch monitors, and Voice Caddie, which are GPS devices. I don't know which uses which name, but they're all the same brand. Regardless, across all of their products, they do a really good job with their packaging, with their branding. They look pretty good. And so this is no different. When you open it up, one of the first things you will see is this. It's got a white leather case that I can already tell is gonna get kind of dirty, but it looks unlike any other case that's out there on the market, which kind of helps sets it apart. If you're gonna spend 600 bucks on a rangefinder, it is kind of nice to have a little flash or something that stands out, something that looks a little bit different, and this definitely does. But the good looks don't just stop with the case. This, in my opinion, might be the best looking rangefinder on the market. First off, the sides of it are leather. Yeah, they have a beautiful, surprisingly soft leather that looks good, it feels good, it is very nice. And then around the rest of it, there are aluminum metal accents that look, well, fantastic. It looks great. Honestly, if a luxury designer is like, hey, we're gonna make a golf rangefinder, I kind of think this is what they would come up with. It just looks different than anything else out there, and I kind of love it. That being said, it's lighter than I expected it to be, which for some of you, you're gonna be like, great, I want my bag to be as light as possible. When it comes to rangefinders, if you've watched any of my other reviews, you know that I kind of like a hefty rangefinder. I like it to have a little bit of weight. I like it to be a little bit heavier. It just makes things feel more well-built. And this feels well-built, it's very nice, but honestly, it doesn't feel quite as indestructible as the Cobalt I mentioned or the Bushnell I mentioned. So while I do think this is the best looking rangefinder on the market, it doesn't feel quite as high-end as some of those other products. If there was just a little bit more weight, if there was just a little bit better build quality, I guess. Not that it's bad build quality at all. It is very, very nice, but it just doesn't quite feel like it's on the same level as the Bushnell Pro X3, which is the same amount of money. When I first took it out of the box, I did notice one thing, which is the same thing I've noticed with every other smart rangefinder I've used, and it's kind of a bummer, and that is this right here. That is a USB-C charging port. That's right, you have to charge this pretty much after every use. It's not like a typical rangefinder where you put a battery in there and that battery is gonna last you for a couple of years. You gotta charge this every round, and that kind of sucks because honestly, I have enough things to charge. I'm kind of a forgetful, lazy person. So either I'm going to forget to take it out of my bag and charge it, I'm going to forget to unplug it and put it back in my bag, or I'm just gonna completely forget about it altogether and then get like 4 holes through my next round and it's gonna die on me. That might not be you. That might just be a me problem, but I just have difficulty remembering to charge my rangefinder, so that is something to keep in mind if you buy this device, because that will be a thing you gotta do. Looking at the design of this, there are 2 buttons on the top. One is the power button, which is also going to be how you are going to range distances, and a second one for display. There is a red backlit LED display on the inside of it that looks fantastic, and there's 5 different brightness settings. So if you are in really bright sunlight and you don't need the display to be that bright, you just hit this a couple times and it's gonna get darker. Hit it a few more times and it'll brighten up if you are in foggy or inclement conditions, and it works really, really well. The display in here is one of the nicest displays I've used used on any rangefinder. The optics are really good, the lettering is really good, the colors look great, it's very well done. There are two caveats to that though. The display is a little bit busy. It'll show you the slope adjusted, then you're gonna have your crosshairs for lasering, then it's gonna say what the slope adjustment is, and then it's gonna say the actual distance. Once you've used it for a while and you know where to look for which number you want, it really isn't a big deal. It's great. But for me, I like to have it be as minimal as possible, and there's just kind of a lot going on in this display. The second caveat is it is a 6x magnification rather than a 7x magnification. At this price point, most devices are 7x. Everything looks a little bit clearer, it looks a little bit better, it just makes everything easier to use, and this one is only 6x. That being said, it is one of the best 6x magnification devices I have used, and because the optics are good, because the display is good, it really doesn't hamper the experience that much, so it's less of an issue in this than I found it to be in other ones. I also do like the fact it is a dual color OLED, so everything is red, and then when it locks onto the flag, there's green accents that brighten up as well. So this reminds me a little bit of the Nikon CoolShot Stabilize 2 Pro, whatever. That's one of the only other devices I've used that has that dual color display, but it looks really nice and it feels really high end. So we've talked all about what this thing looks like, and I have not mentioned the biggest feature and the thing that makes this completely different from any other device out there, and that's this. There's a screen right here. So rather than the Garmin's Z82, which has all of its GPS data, all of its screen stuff is inside the viewfinder, this has a secondary screen. So if you want any GPS yardages or anything, you are going to use this. And I'll say, after using this device for a couple rounds, the GPS works really well. To fire it up, you literally just hit the golf button right here. It takes about 20 or 30 seconds for the satellites to lock on to what course you're at. You select the course, you select your tees, and then immediately it's gonna pop up with a whole overview. So this is very similar to if you've used any GPS device on your phone, and it's also very similar to using any higher end golf watch that is going to display, the hole overviews and hazards and distances and all of those things. So Voice Caddie also makes the T9 golf watch, which is an excellent GPS watch, and this pretty much feels very similar to how the watch is, except instead of on your wrist, it's on your rangefinder. Using the display and the screen is pretty intuitive. It's not the most responsive touchscreen I have used on a GPS device, but it's very good. You can swipe, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, and it does it all pretty seamlessly. And I was generally pretty impressed with how easy it is to use and how quickly I was able to catch on with how to use it, considering I've never really used a rangefinder like this before. So what you're gonna find as soon as you fire it up is it's going to give you a whole overview. You can go into the settings, you can tell it how far your average drive is. So let's say it's 235 yards. It will then give you a nice little line across the fairway dictating where 235 yards is in comparison to where you're standing on the tee. So this makes it really easy for you to figure out, can I carry that bunker? Can I carry that hazard? Garmin does this with a lot of their golf watches and their GPS devices, and I really like that feature. If you're trying to look at a specific part of the hole, you can very easily zoom in. You can select any hazards and figure out how far it's going to be to the front and the back in order to clear those. And if you just want basic distances to the front, middle, and back of the green, you can swipe and you can get a screen that just shows you that. But it gets really cool once you get to the green. One of the fun features that this has is it has green heat maps. So it's going to show you how severe the breaks are in a green, where those breaks are, and what direction things are moving. The reality is, if you've got a 30-foot putt, you're probably not going to be looking at your rangefinder trying to figure out what the break is on the green, but where it is really helpful is if it's a course you're not super familiar with and you're hitting your approach shot. So maybe you've got a large green, you have no idea which way this green breaks, and so maybe the pin is sitting up on a shelf that you didn't know existed. Well, that's going to allow you to figure out where to hit your approach shot to best play the contours of the green. It's a very useful feature, and it's one that we're starting to see on a number of other devices. But the great thing about this is, unlike, say, Garmin, which builds it into the Z82, they build it into their S70 golf watch, the G80 launch monitor and GPS. With Garmin, you have to use the Garmin Golf Club membership, which is $120 a year if you want green heat maps. It's free, just like the T9 watch as well. So the fact that it's built in, you get that feature, and it's free sets it apart from just about any other tech product out there and is one of the coolest features of the SL3. You can go into the settings and turn slope mode on or off, but if you are a tournament player, the fact that there's no way to display on the outside if it's in tournament mode makes it not the best device for tournament play. You can certainly do it, but if for some reason you forget to go into the settings and change that, the last thing you would want is to be disqualified because of something you forgot to do. So this is pretty high tech, and there's a lot of features in here to aid you in your distances, and so I would probably not recommend this if it is tournament play, because I would imagine you would also have to make sure the GPS is turned off. So there's a lot that goes into it. So if you're really thinking about using this for competitive golf, you might think about looking elsewhere. So now let's talk about performance. How does this thing actually work as a rangefinder? So one of the features that I really like about this is it actually has an optical lens. It's got an optical viewfinder. So you can use it just as you would a regular rangefinder. The Z82, for instance, it's actually got a camera here. And so you're not actually looking through optical glass when you're in the rangefinder, you're looking at a screen. And because of that, it takes a little bit longer to really get the most out of this device. You've got to make sure you've paired it with the Garmin app. So there's a few extra steps. It's not like a very just, cool, I'm gonna pick it up and use it right away. Whereas this, as long as it's charged, you can just pick it up and use it as a regular rangefinder, and I really like that. And then if you're looking for all of the enhanced GPS details, you can easily get that as well. But how does it work just as a regular rangefinder? Overall, it works pretty well. I will say, when I first started using it, there was a feature in the settings called GPS Pin Assist. And what that means is it takes into account GPS data to help you get a more accurate flag lock. So if it knows that there's trees 40 yards behind the green, it's going to take that into account. So if it's shooting something 40 yards too far, then it's going to theoretically know that and make sure it's giving you the correct distance. But for the first 3 holes where I was playing with this, I was having a hard time getting it to lock onto the flag. It seemed like it was hitting a lot of other things, was jumping around, and I turned that feature off, and that pretty much solved my problems. For the rest of the round, that first round and the second round after that, it worked great. I had no problem locking on. It has a vibration feature like most rangefinders do. It has those green lights that go up. So you could be pretty confident that you were getting the correct distance, but that GPS pin assist mode just didn't seem like it worked as well as it was supposed to. It's also worth noting there's no built-in magnet for this. So if you're someone who rides in a cart and you like to mount your rangefinder right up on the cart, so you're most likely going to forget it at the end of the round, the good news or bad news, depending on how you look at it, this can't do that. So another question you might be asking is, how does it compare to the Garmin Z82 or the less expensive Precision Pro R1? Well, first off, for whatever reason, Precision Pro stopped making the R1. I don't think it worked as well as they did, and so this isn't really even an option anymore, so you can forget about that. The Z82, on the other hand, is pretty much the direct competitor to this. They are the same price. They are both high tech, but they are also very different. So with the Garmin, if you're already in the Garmin ecosystem, if you use the R10 launch monitor, if you use the G80, if you use the CT10 sensors, then having all of your information and all of your data within one ecosystem is great. I would probably go with the Garmin. But I will say, the screen in the Garmin and the fact it's not a traditional rangefinder, it kind of gets a little annoying. And the screen is not necessarily super high quality. If you had ever looked through a lens of a mirrorless camera back maybe 6 years ago, before they became really mainstream, that's kind of the quality level. It's not super high def and it's a little bit laggy at times. That being said, there's a ton of cool features packed in here. I feel like the GPS is a little bit more robust. You can keep score with this thing. It's got a feature to notify you if you forget it. So if you are the type of person that always forgets your rangefinder places, it's gonna beep at you, kind of like a Find My iPhone feature. So there's a lot of cool stuff here. But if it were me, I would probably lean towards getting the Voice Caddie for a couple key reasons. One is the fact that if you're just playing a casual round and you don't want to worry about pairing it with an app and you don't want to have to worry about firing it up and the screen and everything, you can use this just as a regular rangefinder, which I really, really like. If after all that, you're still not sure which rangefinder is for you, I got you covered. There's a 30-second quiz linked below. You answer a few quick questions about what you're looking for, and I will give you my best recommendation for the best rangefinder for you. It's very easy, and I think it's gonna help you make a more informed decision. So be sure to go check that out. Also, one more time, if you decide this one is right for you, if you buy it through playbetter.com, there is a code below that's gonna save you 50 bucks, and I will get a commission on that if you use it. So full transparency, but go make the best decision for you. My name is Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here at Breaking 80, where we do cool golf product reviews and golf course reviews. If you got some value out of this, do the things. Thumbs up, subscribe button, leave a comment. All of that helps me and allows me to shoot more videos like this for you. With that, I hope you have an excellent day, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.